I was at an event over the weekend and everyone was like, oh, you know, how do you look ahead at trends? And I'm like, I don't look at trends. I'd like to think I set the trend for myself. And if people like it, they'll come along with it. And if they don't, that's cool. And I think we are fixated on numbers and views and engagement and blah, 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 because that's the way the world's going. But you will get that organically if you are 100% yourself.
What Scarlette is saying is incorporating stuff that me and Iman talk about, which is A, doing stuff for free. You have to do that to a certain point. And we spoke about agents recently, and agents are going to want to see that you've done a bit of grit yourself. Am I right?
100%.
They're not going to just represent you blank canvas. They want to see that you've done a little bit.
Yeah, they need to see it. They absolutely need to see it. So I was getting offered musical jobs without even needing to audition because I'd have built myself up so well. And we've got a joint calendar. So I looked at it and it was like, I'm a celebrity research call. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
I'm not even going to waste time because we got a lot to talk about on this one. Straight into the intro. One time Iman got on to me about intros, so I'm going to be sharp with them. Okay. At the moment, we got the superstar on the sofa for you. Superstar. For those of you that don't have visuals, we have the Scarlette Douglas in the building.
Hey, everybody. Hi.
TV presenter, TV personality,
property
expert. What else you done? You done bare bits.
I've done a lot of stuff, I'm not going to lie.
On your TV on a regular basis.
Yeah.
On all channels. Come on, you already know. I think I'm going to jump in on the intro straight away, yeah, because this is a moment for me, innit? Because for those of you that don't know my story of television, I was randomly approached and they said, boom, would you do TV? And for me, it's like, for those of you listening, if someone came up to you and said, do you want to pilot an aircraft? That's how I felt. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And two people I hollered at were you two. Now, obviously, Iman I've known basically since birth, and Iman was already doing TV, so that was my go-to. Very easy. Iman gave me the drop. Now, I was trying to find it, Scarlette, but your one was completely different because I didn't know Scarlette whatsoever.
Right.
But for those of you that know me, I'm a research person. So when TV comes about, I read in it. So I'd been seeing articles about you in it. Okay. And obviously you're a black woman as well, so it's more relatable to me as well, innit? Your journey is going to be closer to my journey, innit? And I can't remember, what did I message you? Do you remember me messaging you randomly?
No, I really can't remember.
I messaged you randomly on something. I can't remember what it was. I checked if it was IG, but it wasn't IG. Okay. But I messaged you randomly and I was like, yo, love what you're doing, respect your thing. Just wanted to reach out and potentially going into television, and I wanted to ask about XYZ, and you just gave me the drop on everything. And I always say to people, and something that me and Iman always talk about, like, beg culture will kill you, basically. And what we mean by beg culture is that when you don't want to ask a question because you don't want to appear to be a beg, basically.
Too needy.
But that is this kind of outcome that you will get if you don't have that mindset. Because I asked you randomly and you were like, gave me bare answers, and you were like, do you know what? It's funny because in this industry, some people are like very like hold their cards close to their chest, but I'm very much so, look, I'm here in this position, let me tell other people and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to big up the front on the front end for that.
You.
Come on.
I just feel like if I'm going to have a platform, I have to make sure I can bring others with me, right? So absolutely. I'm never closed off. I've always been that person that's like, if you want advice, come to me, I'm here. Slide in the DMs for the right reasons. And I will help you as much as possible. There have been some wrong reasons, that's for sure.
I remember you tweeting, you used to get bare of them, innit? Let's get straight into that on Twitter. They used to be honor on Twitter, boy.
What happened? I never heard this.
I just used to get, so I have people that obviously want to have my babies. I say obviously not everyone wants to have my babies, but a lot of people are like, I want to have your babies. Can I take you on a date? You're single. And I'm like, okay, move on. And then there was a whole thing with, was it Dave Baker? Was it the comedian? Do you remember when he posted the picture of a chimpanzee coming out of the hospital with like a aristocratic family, and it was basically supposed to be Meghan Markle and Harry, and I was like, this is not okay, and I spoke up about it, and I had so many people trolling me constantly, you're the racist, you should die, we hate you, and it's like, oh my god. So I learned from that time speak out, but just be careful what battles you decide you want to try and fight, because some people are coming for you. You know, just keyboard warriors behind a picture of nothing. It's
I was about to say that picture of a dog or or
Robert
a flag.
21364. It's like, who even are you? Your name's not even Robert. But you kind of learn. You learn as you go. And there are times when I think, oh, maybe I need to just stop. And then I think, no. This is my platform. And I know that I'm doing so much more good. And a lot more people are appreciating it as opposed to hating on it.
Yeah.
So obviously, I know you, and I know your story. I've spoken to you on several occasions. In fact, I'm proud enough to say I'm actually your financial advisor.
You are my financial advisor.
So I know you. But for those that don't know your story, like how you started, how you got here, you were already talented. You were already talented from young. Can you tell people like how you started in the industry, and you know, did you get support from family? Is it something you always knew you wanted to do? Like, talk to them about that.
Okay, so I started dancing at the age of like 2.5, 3. And
Crazy.
I always knew I loved to be in the limelight. I always knew, because I've got 2 older brothers and
Yeah.
I'm the only girl and I'm the youngest. I was spoiled.
Yeah.
So I loved being like, hey, look at me. And they both played football. So I also played football. They really inspired me. I played for Arsenal girls when I was younger.
Oh,
but
okay.
continued dancing. I used to play field hockey and I was having trials to like take it to the next level. But my mum said you need to focus on one thing because you can't do everything. And like your Saturdays is either football or it's hockey or it's dancing, and everything's clashing. So decide what you want to do. And I was like, yeah, I want to be in a girl group. So let me focus being the all-rounder, like have the X factor, so to speak. So did all my grades at school. My mum and dad always said to me and my brothers, get your grades, do well in your grades, and then after that we'll support you in whatever it is that you want to do. So my brothers both got their grades. They got to do football. I got good grades. I got to pursue performing arts, basically. Went to performing arts college for 3 years from 16 to 19. And I remember going there and a lot of people were like, you're not going to get into that college because like it is the top college in the UK and you're not really there. You're not at that level. And I was like, okay. Anyway, auditioned, got in. So thank you to everyone that didn't believe me. And then while I was there, it was a really hard 3 years because it's called Lane Theatre Arts. And Miss Lane was very much like old school mentality of the kick line has to look like this. Everyone is 5'8", blonde, white, blue eyes. Their legs can kick past their legs. They're very slender. I'm the complete opposite to that. You know, I'm never going to be that person. I'm never going to fit that aesthetic. But actually, I have other skill sets that are also great that might not be in the kick line, which never really got nurtured when I was there. The more I think about it, but it was a tough college because every month we would get weighed. At the end of a term and at the start of the term, we would get weighed.
That's mental.
Crazy.
And if we put weight on during our term break, we had to go and see the nutritionist and they would put us on a diet.
So, is this still allowed in 2024?
I hope not. I've not been to that college since I left when I was 19.
Wow.
But I hope not. But it was really bad. Like thinking about it, it was really bad. And a good friend of mine, Beatrice, she was an amazing dancer, incredible singer. She was quite operatic, but she was a big, heavy-set girl.
Yeah.
And she'd be walking around eating seeds because the nutritionist had said, no, you need to lose weight. She was never going to lose weight. She's big boned. Her dad was a big guy, you know. But why don't we celebrate everything else about her, that she can dance, that she can sing, that she's incredible.
Yeah.
But they just wouldn't at that college. So I ended up leaving there with with body dysmorphia and a slight eating disorder. I had IBS. I was never bulimic, but I was so conscious of what I would eat that the minute I finished eating, I would either be sick or it would come out the other side. Sorry, that's gross. And it was something that it took a very long time for me to overcome. So I did musicals for 8 years. And when I moved into TV presenting, I would watch myself on television. And even to this day, I've been doing TV for 9 years. When people meet me in real life, they're like, oh, you're a lot skinnier or a lot slimmer in real life than you are on TV. And I'm like, okay, I get that that's a kind of compliment, but that means that on TV I look big. And it's true because TV adds pounds and I watch myself. And it took me such a long time when I first started to watch myself and not be obsessed with the fact that I was maybe too heavy set for television and like, oh, but I look too big here and I'm really fat and I've put weight on. So even now, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm overweight for what I would like to be. I need to deal with that. I need to get to the gym. Or I need to stop eating as much. And it's something that I know has come from being in college, being a bigger girl to the other girls, and then being told constantly, you're too fat. You need to go to the nutritionist, blah, blah, blah. So these are all the things that, you know, you see something on television, you see the happy, smiley face, but what people don't know behind the scenes is that there's so much more that comes with that. There's so many struggles that we have to overcome. And I'm still getting there. I'm 37 and I'm still getting there.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Scarlett, you gotta hang with some more Nigerians. You see, if you hang with us Nigerians, you are a slimmers.
Yeah.
You know, we tell you, we need to feed you.
We need to feed you. Don't be worried.
Don't be scared.
It's so
Where have you gone? Where have you gone, Scarlett? Where have you gone?
Where's the rest of you? So you just need to hang with more Nigerians.
It's
the total opposite. So no, but you're good. But you know what? It's mad that you think that. Imagine you've gone somewhere to perform and to build on your art, and they're focusing on everything else.
Yeah.
The stuff that, you know, like you're thinking, I can sing, I can dance. Rather than focus on that, it's how you look and, you know, your weight, which can always vary depending on
everything.
Yes.
Especially for a woman, time of the month,
Exactly.
you could be a lot heavier than you are normally.
So how did you overcome, like, did you have like other role models outside? Because could you even speak to people? Me and Bricks always talk about this, like when we worked in finance, it was one of those things that I couldn't really talk to my dad about finance because he couldn't really, he's never worked at that level. So I didn't really have peers that I could go to. Did you have people outside of that you could speak to that you felt like, no, you understand what I'm going through and
Do you know what? Not really, because I was brought up in a predominantly white area and the college was white. So there was no other black girls I can say, how are you feeling about this? And I felt embarrassed to go and speak to my mum and dad about it. And my first job was in Zurich in Switzerland, and I was living away from home for like 8 months. And I remember, and even that is very white, very white.
You went from fire pan to fire.
You've lived like very different lives.
Honestly, yeah. I did a musical in called We'll Rock You in Zurich in Switzerland. And the director there actually called me and 2 other girls in and said, if you don't lose weight, we're going to sack you. And this came off the back of, there was a new wardrobe mistress that came in and she was washing our clothes on a higher heat. I found out afterwards. And she had said to the director, find out if they're considering losing weight, because if they are, I won't let out the costumes, but if they're not, I'll let the costumes out because I'm washing them on a higher heat because the lady before wasn't washing them properly. They weren't clean. So obviously clothes are going to shrink a little bit. Fine. He told us if we don't lose weight, we are sacked. So I ended up, this is so ridiculous, going on a popcorn diet because I love popcorn and everyone's like, oh, it's calorie free. But obviously salted popcorn is not calorie free, let's be honest. But I would just be eating popcorn. And this is like a hard show. We'll Rock You is like a 3-hour show. The opening of Act 2, you're dancing, fully dancing, singing for about 8 minutes non-stop. It's constant. And I would get sick and I wasn't well. And obviously, because I'm away from mum and dad, they don't know. So when mum and dad did come over and they saw how I looked and they're like, what is happening? And I told them, my mum, she's a Jamaican mum. She was like, absolutely not. First of all, she put the oven on. There was like chicken in the oven. She went straight to the director, spoke to him in the office. She was like, how dare you? This is disgusting. I'm going to get you blah, 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 blah. Finished my contract, left. And I think it was from that moment I realised that I can always talk to my mum about anything and never to be ashamed of something that I'm feeling because of other people putting it on me. And also, if I was at home, I'd be eating my mum and dad's food. Like my mum cooks the most amazing Jamaican food ever. She would be making sure I'm eating. And I think that part of me made me realise, right, if I'm ever going to do it or try and lose weight, do it in the right way, but don't ever feel pressured that I just shouldn't eat or eat popcorn. Who goes on a popcorn diet? Like, it's ridiculous thinking about it now. But when you're 19 and you're being told you're going to get sacked from your first ever job, you do whatever you can to make sure you stay there.
So what do you tell someone now, like these young girls that want to be like, so it's different now. Maybe back in the day was want to be in a girl group. Now it's online, right? It's social media. We've recently seen, though, I see this group of girls that have now collaborated to form their own group on social media.
Oh, wow, okay.
Where they post together and they follow their lives, similar to like the side men and that, but it's a group of girls and like that become like influencer is the goal now. You become an
New pop
influencer,
star, basically.
Yeah,
it's new pop star.
That's the new pop star.
Yeah.
So what? Again, they are willing to do whatever it takes to get there. What do you tell them? Like, because obviously you've got here now and learned over there. What would you tell that person, that young person now who feels like whatever it takes to be famous, I'm ready to do. If that's, dress in a certain way, if that's, do dares or whatever it may be, I want it.
I think my thing has always been be as authentic as possible. And I have learned over my career to date that even if I try and do something else, it just doesn't work. I'm either not happy, I get sick, it's not successful. So if I just stay in my lane and do what is right for me and I feel comfortable with, success is always going to come, because there's only so long you can keep up an appearance for, right? There's only so long you can be like, oh, this is me, when it's really not. And you'll get found out really quickly. So I think what's really important for young kids, and there is a lot of pressure out there to be famous, to be cool, to be the one that everyone wants to watch, is who are you? and let that be what makes you famous. Let that be what it is that everybody else wants to follow, you know. I was at an event over the weekend and everyone's like, oh, you know, how do you look ahead at trends? And I'm like, I don't look at trends. I'd like to think I set the trend for myself. And if people like it, they'll come along with it. And if they don't, that's cool. And I think we are fixated on numbers and views and engagement and blah, 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 because that's the way the world's going. But you'll get that organically if you are 100% yourself.
He's spitting.
We don't even need to talk.
Yeah.
That's what I would say anyway.
So let's talk about you getting into TV first, innit? So
Yes.
it's been something that you've been thinking about, something that you're almost geared towards from dancing at 2 to 3, right? And big up your parents, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
I love the fact they said that if you get these grades, you can go pursue that. Because that's like the best of both worlds, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? And also, you learn lessons early on. I think the one key lesson which you probably learned was when you first got into college, when people were saying that you couldn't, or that you won't get in, or they won't take you, because that's the first. If you can break that down nice and early, now all of a sudden it's like, I don't care what people say, like
100%.
I'm going to be the first person to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So how did your first TV gig come along, and how did you get into that?
Ooh, so that was kind of by accident. I knew I needed to do something outside of musicals because you can't kick your leg past your head for the rest of your life. Like you get to 25, 26, 27, it's like, ooh, it's a struggle. And it was actually Stuart, my eldest brother that I present with, that had invested in property from doing football. So anytime he was moving football club, he'd buy a property near the club, he'd do it up, and he just happened to make money. He didn't mean to, and he was like, oh, okay, there's something in this. So at 24, he said to me, do I want to come along and kind of work with him, have a partnership? I was like, yeah, sure, you know, we can invest together and I can use my kind of creative flair and love of fashion to do the interiors of it. And that was from 24. So when I hit 27, I remember doing, or 26, I think, I remember doing lots of little competitions to be a presenter because everyone's like, Scarlette, you should do it. You'll be really good. And a lot of the shows I was in would always get me to do behind the scenes diaries and stuff, backstage diaries. I was like, actually, I quite enjoy this. I like talking anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not really scared of the camera. So let's just see what happens. And I did the Ant and Dec Saturday Night Takeaway show on an arena tour. I was a backing dancer for them, and just being with them, I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to be a presenter. They're so cool. Women were rushing the stage. We're doing arena tours that are sold out, and women are rushing the stage for Ant and Dec. And I was like, this is probably as close as I'd get to in terms of me wanting to be in a girl group, to having that kind of accolade coming towards me. So I was like, this is it. I got to do this. And I asked the boys if I could interview them. They were like, yeah. Interviewed them, and they said, if this is what you want to do, Scarlette, you should really focus on it, and we'll help you however we can. So I had done a competition.
Ant and Dec said,
Ant and Dec. They came in the next day. We did an interview. It was so good. They were brilliant. And I had an agent because I'd done, like I said, a couple of competitions, and I'd won one with MTV to be the face of MTV for a week. And I got back in touch with an agent who I'd met from before, and I said, look, I've won this competition out of, I think it was like 3,500 people, however many people, will you now consider representing me? And they're like, well, if you've won that, we'll represent you. Great. But I hadn't really done anything. I think I did, for free, I did some interviews backstage at V Festival when that was a thing.
Remember where you are. I just want to interject here. For you consistent bread and butter listeners, we love you. But as you'll see, these are what Scarlette is saying is incorporating stuff that me and Iman talk about, which is A, doing stuff for free. You have to do that to a certain point. And we spoke about agents recently, and agents are going to want to see that you've done a bit of grit yourself. Am I right?
100%.
They're not going to just represent you blank canvas. They want to see that you've done a little bit.
Yeah, they need to see it. They absolutely need to see it. And the good thing for me is doing those interviews for free for V Festival meant I could build a show reel.
Yes.
So that was like priceless for me. That's content, fantastic. And all the competitions I ever did, I built the show reel, got my agent off the back of that. And then nothing was really happening. So did the interview with Ant and Dec. They said they'd set me up a meeting with their agent just to give me advice and whatnot, which I had, and it was great. And I remember this lady, her name was George. She was so lovely. And she was like, right, you can get into TV two ways. One, Love Island is coming back, so you can go on Love Island. Or two, you can use an expertise. And I was like, not really the Love Island sort of girl, but I do property development on the side, so maybe I can use that. She's like, yes, go and tell your agent that this is what you do and use that as a way in. So I went back to my agent. I said, look, I've had this meeting. This was the advice. What do you think? And she's like, okay, A Place in the Sun have literally posted that they're looking for a new presenter that has a property background. We had no idea that you did property. We just thought you did singing, dancing, musicals. So let's put you forward. Put me forward. Had a phone call with them, had to answer some questions on emails, did a Zoom call, did a screen test, went to Channel 4. In about 10 days, I found out I got A Place in the Sun,
Wicked.
Which was one of the shows I'd always watched and always thought this is amazing. to do, and it's like my first ever presenting job. Like paid gig was on Channel 4, one of their most prestigious daytime shows, A Place in the Sun. And it came about because I had my expertise, I had my USP, but also because I was like, I know this is what I want to do now, so I'm not going to do anything that's going to deviate me.
Yeah.
So I was getting offered musical jobs without even needing to audition because I'd have built myself up so well.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm turning things down because I just had my eye on the prize. I'm like, I want to do, it was either acting or presenting, and presenting came about first. I was like, right, then that's it. I'm going to trust the Lord, trust whatever it is that is telling me to do this, and just go with it. And then here I am, 9 years later.
But I think the big thing is that you pursued knowledge, right? So you met with that, you had your agent, so you got your agent, but you still met with Ant and Dec's agent because you said to yourself, right, it's Ant and Dec, like their agent must know a lot, like, do you know what I mean? There are levels. There's levels to agents, there's levels to talent, there's levels to everything. So you still sat down with them, and then by you opening up to be humble enough to say, look, can I just get some tips? Can I just learn? That's when you then realize, oh, there's two ways to get in love. Like that conversation changed your perspective.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have that conversation, like you said, you hadn't even told your own agents that you had property because you never thought that was something that was important. Do you know what I mean? So it's so important to always seek knowledge when you're on the pursuit of greatness and you're trying to better yourself, to pursue knowledge. Like, just have meetings. Sometimes it's not even what I can, like, I'm gonna get this deal or I'm gonna sign up, I'm gonna make any money, but actually acquiring knowledge and understanding what's going on in the industry. I mean, last week or a few weeks ago, we went to Direct to the Culture, like event, and at the event, everyone kept saying, "Are you going to talk?" I'm not here to talk. No. I'm here to listen. Like, I'm here to learn because I want to know what's happening in the culture. I want to know what's pushing the culture. I want to know the stats. I want to know where the culture's going, so I can see where I can be. Not every day I have to be at the forefront. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, at least 20 people's like, "Oh, Eamon, are you talking today?" I'm like, "No, I'm not talking." And it's like, actually, sometimes you just got to pursue knowledge. No matter what position you're in or how far you've got, there's always more to learn.
Without a doubt. And that's where I think the gold mines come along. Like, even really quickly off the back of that, I was in LA in April and May, and I saw on Soho House over there, they had like I don't think it was intro to presenting, but it was like a presenting workshop day or something. And I'm like, well, I'm an established presenter, but I'm not established in US. No one knows who I am over there, and I want to get known. So let me go to this day. I went to it, and it was very basic, but off the back of that, I met two incredible presenters. Off the back of one of them, who's a real estate agent as well as a presenter, I learned loads from him about realty over there. And then from the girl, she told me about a specific agency who I ended up reaching out to, who I'm now represented by. Crazy. But if I was like, I don't need to go to this presenting course because I'm a pro presenter, blah, blah, blah. I never would have had those contacts.
Don't get me started on, I don't need to go to, don't get me started on that one, because everybody thinks that's the case, but
yeah, not at all. Like, humble yourself, I think.
Everybody's a student, everybody's a teacher. Like, you can always learn, and sometimes it's just being visible.
And
that's something I need to get better at. And it's not, my thing is that a lot of the time I might have to say that I'm too tired, or there's bare work at home, so sometimes I might not step out, but I understand the importance of being visible. Like, sometimes you need to be in these places and have these conversations, and that's where the opportunity lies. This is the Bread and Butter podcast, so we spoke about teaching and learning. I think The Place in the Sun, we haven't done this before, and I think that The Place in the Sun is a great one to do it for. You don't have to talk about day rates, but can you give people an insight as to what being paid as a TV presenter looks like, and what that looked like for Place in the Sun? And you know why I'm saying Place in the Sun is a bit different from other TV shows, because you'll be abroad, innit? So what does a year look like as a Place in the Sun presenter? How do you get paid? What does a contract look like? What are you committed to? So on and so forth, basically.
So it was definitely a lot better financially than it was doing musical theatre. I think in musicals you used to get, I think basic, depending on the size of the theatre, was maybe $750 a week, I think, £750 a week, and you're slogging hard, like 8 shows a week, constant. So this was a lot better. When I went to television, I was like, oh, wow. But because, especially with A Place in the Sun, there are so many presenters, they split the shows across everybody. So really, in a year, I would do maybe anywhere from 12 to 20 episodes a year, which was great. I didn't have to do anything else. Like, that was my job, and with that I could save up, and I could do other things when I wasn't working, but you just get paid weekly. So you don't get paid like a monthly retainer. You get paid for the episodes that you do. So if they decided you're only doing 5 episodes this year, I'm only getting a small amount of money, then I'm going to have to try and top it up elsewhere.
Elsewhere,
So TV obviously is lucrative. It's not it's not Ant and Dec money, because I ain't Ant and Dec yet. You know what I mean? I'm not up there yet, but it's sustainable and it's enough that can help me invest in things and, you know, do the property development still. But even, you know, Eman, with investments I'm doing with you, I've not worked this year. So it's like I have to put things on pause and on hold because I need to make sure I can still pay my mortgage. So as much as it looks really rosy and it looks like you're a multimillionaire, it's not the case. Until you're big levels, it's not the case. But it is sustainable.
And how many episodes would you typically do per how many filming days would you do per episode?
Oh, so you do 5.
Five
So with The
filming
Place
days.
in the Sun, you're filming a Monday to Friday. You have your weekends off. But then on Saturday might be a travel day. And then Sunday, you've got to meet the house hunters for that following week. So yeah, you'd film 5 days. And to be fair, for what you get paid for 5 days worth of work is great. It's
great,
it's fantastic. But for me, I know I want to invest in a lot of things and I want to make sure that when I do have kids, I can give them what my parents gave me.
Yeah.
So I need to keep making money because it's not enough for me. For me right now, it's not enough. I need to keep making. And how can I do that? And where can I invest to do that?
And obviously you're a completely different space to that now, but just to give people even more of an insight. So your first gig was basically you'd work 20 weeks in a year basically because it was 1 week per episode basically is what I'm hearing. 1 week per episode, you work 20 weeks in a year, but that would kind of sort you out for the whole year basically.
Yeah. And then, you've got another 32 weeks to do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took that time. I went and studied sign language. I always wanted to learn it. So I got my level 6 in BSL.
Oh, sick.
I got to like travel. I got to travel. I'd take my mum and dad on holidays, or I'd take them over with me with filming. Like my mum and dad are super important to me, and I'm only here because of them. So I kind of enjoyed life in between filming, and it's something that I've always wanted as a child. I've always been like, I want to work, but also be able to enjoy life because I've seen how hard my mum and dad have worked and haven't had a chance to really enjoy. Like they can't enjoy the benefits of their hard work. So I want to help them enjoy that.
Yeah.
I love that. I guess to take it to the next level, how do you leverage TV? Because obviously we know that TV is great, but TV puts you in the shop window, right?
Correct.
Now there are people, the public, you now become a face that the public know. And because you're a face that the public know and trust, brands want to work with you because people don't trust brands, so they use individuals.
Yes.
So how do you leverage yourself? Obviously you've got an agent, but how do you leverage that? And were there certain things that you wouldn't do? Like for me, for example, I've had people reach out to me to do crypto, but I won't promote it because I just don't believe in where it is right now, and I don't want people to get scammed or whatever, and then that affect my brand and my name and so forth.
Yeah.
Like when you're trying to leverage television, because obviously, like you said, there are another 30 weeks that you're not not getting paid on. So how do you leverage TV? Outside of just brands, also maybe talks, maybe other, what are the things you can do once now you've been on TV?
I think absolutely use what you have and work out what your brand is. So obviously that for me is property. Most people know me for property, but I have broken out into the entertainment space as well because of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So I've been doing a lot on Good Morning Britain. I've been doing red carpet interviews. It's been amazing. But people still mainly know me as a property presenter. So then that means going to property events, again, being the learner that's sitting there, or doing talks with you, Tayo, if I'm in the country, I need to be doing that. But also, like over the last weekend, I was hosting a gala for Black Business magazine.
Yeah, saw that,
Big up
which is
True.
great.
Big up
True,
and
and
Justice.
And Justice, yeah,
smashed
yeah.
it. And also I was at the Black Business Expo in Huddersfield yesterday, which is with Errol was doing that, which is amazing.
Wicked.
So for me, it's like, I have to give back to my community. It's very important that I do that. And people are always, not people, but I do get people like being like, oh, well, if I was doing a white business magazine, wouldn't that be racist? Or if I was doing a white expo, wouldn't that be racist? It's like, it's not about you because every space is for you. And unfortunately, it's not
just called
always
Expo.
for us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's called the
Just
business
called
expo.
Expo.
Yeah, because when you go there, who's there?
Right, exactly.
And how many people from those other communities even know it exists?
Yeah,
Exactly. So actually, I need to support my
Exactly.
culture and need to support my people. And I will do that by hosting these events, by going to these events, by even just sharing, as little as sharing, you got a new show, let me share it. You got a new book, let me share it. Because these are small things you can do.
Yeah.
But I think what's important is not, as I said before, not being distracted by money, because brands have come to me like, oh, we want you to do this and we'll pay you this amount. It's like, but does that align with who I am and what's authentically true to me? I got to do something last year with the National Lottery during Black History Month about the Windrush coming over and it docking at Tilbury Docks. And that for me was important because my great aunt was someone that came over on the Windrush, and I know what she had to experience for me to even be here right now. So I think it's just weeding out the nonsense and just the money. I'm never going to do something just for money and work out what is important to you. Like even the event for True last week, I didn't get paid anywhere near what I would normally get paid hosting an event. But for me, it's not about that because I know what you're doing. Yeah. I love what you're doing. I support it. How can I then support you? So I think it's, yes, take the good money where it comes if it aligns with you and your brand, but also don't close yourself off to other things that are still great for your community and still really important.
Yeah,
of course.
What's one of the most favorite things that you've done outside of property? Because I know I'm going to say this because obviously I did my research before I met you, and there was I can't remember what it was. Was it a skincare or a makeup brand? It's a public article, so that's the reason I'm saying it.
Okay.
Where they paid you once and they came back a year later and paid you for usage.
So this was the deodorant, right? This was Sure deodorant.
No.
Okay, so tell the story like someone hasn't heard about it.
Right. I did a casting for Sure deodorant, and you get your BSF, which is your basic studio fee. That's it. Yeah. So your daily fee, I think, was like £300 or £350 just to turn up on the day. And if I was to get the advert or if it was to air, I'd get £5,000 buyout. Great, because you can make a lot of money from commercials. And I'm like, £5,000's great. Turn up, I literally lift up these weights. I go, and that's my day. Yeah. Obviously, you got to do it a few times because you got to get it from different angles.
That's your 350.
That's my 350.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm happy with that. As if it airs, I get £5,000. Found out, unfortunately, it wasn't going to air. So I was like, you know what? I got my 350. I just lifted a weight for 10 minutes. It's not the end of the world. They came back 6 months later and they were like, actually, we do want to run the show. And because we've messed you around before, we're now going to offer you, I think it was like 14 grand for it. So I'm like, okay. My agent said, I was like, cool, I don't have to do anything else. You're just going to run the advert. And now I'm getting nearly 3 times as much. So I'd get 14 grand. And I'm like, sweet. That's in the kitty because I'm like, I'm going to be buying a property. So that's great. They came back a year later saying they wanted to run it again. And my agent managed to get me 30 grand to do nothing. So in an advert where I lifted my arms, I went, where it's literally, I think I'm not even in it, maybe a second, you see me and it cuts to the next person. I got 44 grand, £44,350, my BSF, minus some commission that I had to pay to my agent, of course.
Yeah.
That was my property that I now rent out. That was the flat. Like, that was unbelievable. And I would definitely talk about those funds and that amount because that was a mind-blowing moment for me where I thought, wow, just doing one commercial has now helped me buy a place. But if I wasn't clued up, I could have just splashed that cash,
Yeah.
I could be like, yeah, I'm going on holiday, I'm buying a nice car. No. I bought a property that I'm now getting a return on my investment on. Like, I drive around in a little Mini. I love my Mini. Everyone's like, oh, why don't you get a... Because I also would love to get like a Jeep or a BMW X6 or the new Rangers. I'm like, but the Mini gets me from A to Z. And the money that I'll be paying into getting this big car, I could maybe buy another property with or invest with someone, do a JV with someone. And I'm going to get a bigger return on investment. And then I can go and buy the car when it's just like little cash to me.
When does the balance stop? Because I'm 100% with you because me and Tia are on this all the time. Like for me, I'm exactly the same position. My car, I've been needing to change my car for the last 3 years.
Right.
But every time for me right now, I'm so focused on my businesses that I'm doing. Any money I get, I just put back into my business.
Correct.
Any money I get, I'd be like, I'd rather pay a staff member. I'd rather run an ad. I'd rather update the website, do a photo shoot. When I tell you, every time I've had the deposit for the new car, I've just used it for my businesses, and I'm like, this is the future because I'm investing in it. But when does the balance come?
When does the balance come? When do you force enjoyment? Because you have to force it. But I've got a little something for it. I think if you're gonna force the enjoyment, force it lump sum, not monthly.
Okay.
Monthly lasts too long. So I think you're absolutely right. Like, force it on a Blancs holiday to like, and that you go all out for. You spend like thousands of pounds in it. Because the thing is, once you tie it to, I don't know, £9 a month for a range or whatever you want to, and like you say, I think you've got the right mindset. Invest, and now your investments are paying for that range. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And this is for the people listening as well. Invest now when it's small money. Do you get what I'm trying to say? When it's not really being noticed. But I think that if you are going to reward yourself on the way up, the same way how 1 month you're like, I could do 2K on ads, I could do 3K on ads. Maybe that month you just force enjoyment and say, look, I know it's a lot of bread, but this is one time I'll make it back. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I'll make it back. If you think about monthly, just too long.
Yeah,
it's just too long, man. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So,
I don't know at what point I'm like, right, I'm going to get the range. I don't know what point I would do that. But I do feel as though...
Because you're good.
Yeah.
You're
don't
But, then,
comfortable.
but
innit?
even now, like we'll get onto it in a minute after. We're gonna talk about I'm a Celeb, then we'll talk about LA. But you're already looking to move to America and do other things. So that's a whole new. So I guess the range gets put back for another year or so. Cause,
That's what I
do you know
mean.
do you know what I
The
mean?
range is put back. I'll tell you what I did do though. When I was in LA early this year and I got to be on the Lorraine show, I covered
Yeah.
for Ross King on there, and it's something that's been on my vision board. And I remember at the end of last year, I saw him with the Hollywood sign behind him. I'm like, I want to do that. And then I was there doing it. I was like, you know what? I'm treating myself. So I did go to Tiffany and I bought this necklace and some earrings. And that was a lot of money. And I was like, oh, I thought, no, soddy, I deserve it because I've worked so hard. I'm going to treat myself to that. So I did. So
Scarlett,
little things
come on,
like
let's
that.
be honest. There are people that haven't even done 10% of your achievement. They've got the same Tiffany. They're banging it now.
They've even
They're
put
banging
diamonds
it
in it.
now. They haven't even.
They've even voted from Tiffany.
They've
They've
got-
gone away and put diamonds in it.
They've got DEF on their GCSEs. They're banging Tiffany right now. Like
is true.
he was humble with it. He was humble with it. He was humble with it. So, and I guess like let's talk about I'm a Celebrity because that's something that even between like me and Tayo, we're talking about the fact that we're known as property and finance experts, and obviously we need something like I'm a Celebrity, skating on ice, come dance with me, just to give you that different
A whole other
audience.
platform. Yeah.
What was it like? Was it worth it? And would you do it again?
It was amazing. Yes, it was worth it. So again, that show, I think there was something leaked to say that I got like 60 grand for doing it. I really didn't. I didn't get much at all for doing that show. But
it?
again, for me, it wasn't about the
He
money.
was even angry. I remember seeing Tyra when I saw that. I was like, no, she should have got much more. Because there were people saying they got like 600 mil this.
Yeah, because Boy George got a lot of money.
And so I was thinking that was too low for you.
Yeah, no, I didn't get much at all. But again, for me, it was more, what can this do for my career? And how can I leverage this show to then bring more money in?
Yeah.
So I've ended up getting more money off of it than from doing it. But again, it wasn't about the money for me. It was about the fact that I'm a Celebrity is a huge show. It's Ant and Dec again. It's one that I've always watched and I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I might not get the opportunity again, so let me do it. Let me go for it. And it was a great year. It was an eye-opener. It was a great experience. And then off the back of that, I've got to do so much more with Good Morning Britain and Lorraine.
Yeah,
and
of course.
now wanting to do entertainment presenting, people are seeing me in that field now, in that space. So it's like, actually, it was totally worth it.
Yeah.
You know, even if I got paid nothing, which kind of ended up being, it was fine for me. It made
Because the
sense.
payment's going to come off the back end anyway.
Is it fair though? Is it fair that we do
No,
this?
absolutely not fair. You're right. It's not fair. When
We
I
do
know
this a
what other
lot, you
people
know?
got, you're right. When I found out what other people got, I was like, "Ah." But again, I can't look at that. I just have to believe that everything happens for a reason.
I was going to say, tell us about some of your moments on I'm a Celeb. Oh, no. Let's go back, actually. How did it come about? That's we got to cover
It
that.
came out of nowhere, you know. It came out. So I was doing another show, My Dream Derelict Home in the Sun, and I was away filming somewhere in Spain or France. And my agent was like, "Are you available at this time on this day?" And I'm like, "Yeah." What's it for? He's like, "I don't want to tell you just yet. Let me lock it in, and I'll let you know." I'm like, "Can you just tell me?" He's like, "No." So a few days later, he's like, "Right." Zoom's in the diary. Have a look, and we've got a joint calendar. So I looked at it, and it was like, "I'm a Celebrity," a research call, and I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" They were looking for one final person. I think there were 8 of us in the running. Then it dropped down to 4 from doing my interviews and everything. And then it was 2, and then it was me. And I was like, what? It happened in the space of maybe 5 weeks. I found out I got it to leaving on the plane. I had to change so many things in my schedule, had to quickly get my hair done, had to pack everything. And then that was it. I was off to Australia. It was like a blink and you miss me moment. Just, what do I do? Yes, of course I'm going to do it. And that was it. I'm gone. So it was mad. It was crazy. It was all of a sudden, everyone wants to know who I am. I'm at the airport and they're like secret press trying to take pictures, people talking to me on the plane. I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk to you or not because you're told you don't say anything. It was mental, but it was a great experience.
I can imagine.
And I think being in there with the people I was in there with as well, bar one, it was brilliant. And they're all like still friends now. So yeah.
What's your favourite moment in there and your most terrifying moment, should I say?
My favourite moment? That's a good one. I don't know if I've got a favourite moment in there.
What's your most terrifying one then?
My most terrifying moment was the very first challenge I ever had to do as a VIP. It was me, Boy George, Chris Moyles and Olivia Atwood, who unfortunately didn't get to stay throughout the term there. but we were on a beach and we had to put our arms or our hands in these holes and turn like little taps to make the water pour to get the stars and blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm petrified of spiders, and over there, they are huge. They're like this big, they're bigger than your head. And I'm like, if I put my hand in one of these and I feel a tarantula, that's it, I'm done. I'm out. I'm just hoping to get me out of here, like just get me home, back to England. I want to be safe. So I was putting my hand in, I was freaking out and I was screaming. And I remember being inside myself saying, think about your nieces, be strong, be confident. How would your nieces want to see you as their auntie look? Like, as a strong black woman, come on, you can do it. And I'm still screaming like a little girl, I'm like, ah! So in the end, I kind of started cheating and like looking in the hole a little bit. And then when I realised, okay, it's a snake, that's fine. Oh, it's a scorpion, okay, that's fine. So all those things didn't bother me. They were fine. It was just if I had to deal with a spider in there, game over. So I think that was the scariest moment, because all of a sudden I was just in it. Like, there's no
What about the height things when you're like mad high in the air?
So the only thing I got to do was we did a helicopter to ride.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to do was the walk off the plank, because I'm not scared of heights, and I feel like that would have been amazing. I didn't want to jump out of the plane, which thank God I didn't do. In the end, my journey into the jungle was via a super yacht with Boy George eating like really nice caviar and fruit. So it was so good. I was like, if this is my time here, it's going to be fantastic. I didn't really have to do many challenges there. I really didn't. There was one where I had to put my head in a box of rats. There was like 10 rats around me. But again, I'm not scared of rats, so that was fine. So that didn't bother me.
I'm not scared of rats.
Could you do other celeb?
No way.
Could you not?
No way.
Why not?
Me, even common dog. common dog. Bro. Me, I'm jumping.
Really?
I think I'm a Celebrity, is a mixture of everything that I am. Like, it would make excellent TV, but honestly, the people that don't know me that are watching this, petrified of heights. Spiders, rat, dog.
Really? Oh, no.
I'll tell you something. When I was younger, I'm not scared of chickens, innit? But when I was younger, a chicken ran towards me and it just messed up my psyche. Like, how can a chicken be chasing me? It just didn't sit well with me. How can a chicken be running after me? What does it know that I don't?
Oh,
I was like,
no, that's
so
funny.
Everything, even water, all that, when you're breathing
Oh,
like,
yeah. Because Baba Tunde was scared of everything. Baba was so scared. So the time when I had my head in the box with the rats, I had, Owen had snakes and Baba had toads, and he's like, that's his worst nemesis. He's like, I don't want toads. So he's freaking out and I'm kind of coaching him through, like, you're going to be fine. Don't worry. It's only 8 minutes, Baba. You got this. It's fine. And he didn't want to do, like, the water ones. No. Anything he didn't want to do. I was glad that I didn't have to do the eating or drinking ones, because they look disgusting. Like blended tarantula to down, like, no, I'm all right, thank you. To down it, no. But outside of that, I think it's something that takes you out of your comfort zone, and I think you really learn about yourself being in a situation like that.
And last thing for me from I'm a Celeb, I'm right in saying that I'm a Celeb, it's that you vote who stays, innit?
It's the audience that votes who they want to stay, who their favourite is.
So, in my opinion, I'm not no TV commissioner, but they need to switch it around, because I think that if they did it, you vote who leaves. A lot of people that people like would stay, because no one would really be voting for you to leave.
Yeah, agreed.
But the thing is, it's like, if you know 1 million people and all of your million vote for you to stay, but Boy George has 100 million people, and even like just 50% of them vote, he's going to stay just because of how big he is. So it just becomes like a popularity thing.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people said when I came out. They're like, it's not fair, you're one of our favourites in there. I'm like, but I need you to vote for me. But my profile was nowhere near. It's not as big as Boy George. He's been going for years. Everybody knows him, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody knew Matt Hancock, so people were still voting for him because he was doing the trials and the challenges all the time, and he was funny. But I think you're right. I do think, and that's not me being big-headed, I do think from the response I got, if people were voting for the people they didn't want in there, I probably would have got a lot further.
Absolutely.
I think my last one for me is how you carried yourself. I just want to talk about that, because I feel like your media training, and this is why it's important. Like, I get it, the rise of the influencer. We've seen other influencers go on other, kind of reality shows and not get the same reaction. I feel like, talk to the fact that because you are media, like, there's a skill to it. Sometimes I feel like we disrespect, just because you're famous for doing social content. It's different. If you're doing content, if it doesn't go well, you can stop, you can pause, you can retake, you can do another one. In fact, they're going to take the best one, they can edit it out. When you're on live television, like, you got to make it work. There's a skill to it. And so when you now go in there, you know how to represent yourself. And I feel a lot of people who are maybe influencers and are going into this place, they should take the time to understand that TV is a different thing. And they should probably speak to people who have been in TV to understand what the other things I need to be thinking about when I'm on national television.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think, especially if you have an online presence, you don't need to censor yourself.
Yes.
Because your followers are following you.
For you being you,
Right.
exactly.
They govern. You govern yourself.
Exactly. You on Good Morning Britain, you'll get cancelled.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. And I know I've come to you before, Ty. Like, can you give me advice and tips of being online? Because my presence has only been on television. I don't know how to have an online presence. I guess it is still just me, but it's still being comfortable with that. Again, still learning.
Yeah.
But I do think that when you are on television, you're right. You can't. You can be yourself. Again, I'm myself, but I still have to censor myself to a certain degree. Like when I was in the jungle, I wanted to cuss and curse and do all these things, but I'm still very aware that there's a whole nation watching and I am representing my mum and dad. Do you know what I mean? And like my community. Yeah. So let me not start being ratchet. Let me not start being crazy, which isn't really me anyway. But there were a lot of things that I probably would have said if I knew the cameras weren't on, which doesn't make me a hypocrite. It just makes me very aware of how we are produced, because again, with shows like that, you are produced, you're getting filmed 24/7 to make an hour episode, so they're going to cut snippets, the best snippets. So how are you going to be the best version of you if you give them ratchet bits and that's all they're going to show of you? That's not me. And even if I gave a little bit of ratchet, they'll be like, oh, we've not seen inside of Scarlett, quick, let's take that, we'll put that in the show. And then they'll create
two
this
angles.
Thank
They
you.
give you two angles.
Exactly.
You even put one in one episode and save
Exactly.
one. We'll use it again.
Exactly.
We'll use that look again, save it, star it. We'll use
So
it
they're
again.
going to create the whole narrative of you. But you can't, if you are you or you are censored to a certain degree, there's no narrative they can make of you, So I think that's really important as well.
No, I love that. Obviously, time is against us, but can we talk about this LA move? Because it's not by chance, and this is what one thing I love about you is that, like you said, you got a vision board. These are things that me and Tyler talk to us all the time. Like we see people, and this is how I want to bring people on so they realize that these people you're looking at saying, I want to be them, I wish I could be them, they are doing the key principles that we are teaching you and talking about, and that's why they're at where they're at.
Correct.
You talked about going to LA a while ago. Number one, what made you want to look at LA? Because being in the UK, we've seen bare of our talent go abroad to really get their shine and get their opportunity. So what made you say, okay, now I feel like I need to go to America to get this done? And then what gave you the confidence to just be able to just go without even necessarily having anyone knowing you're going to see when you get there?
I just think here, so I applied for my green card in August 2020.
I remember you telling me.
Right?
And this is what I'm trying to tell people. Like these things, it takes vision board, it takes planning.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, it takes planning. You have to start today and
you have to. And then the year before in 2019 is when I started to kind of get my letters together. So you've got to get letters from people that are quite substantial in their fields. They got high profiles. So I was writing to choreographers that I'd worked with in New York or TV production companies, a channel. So I was getting letters from everywhere. And then you kind of lose momentum. And then when lockdown happened, it's like, well, I'm not doing anything else. So let me get everything I need put together and then let me send off my application. So I sent it off in August 2020. I physically received it when I went to LA this year in April. So that was 4 years later. But for me, time's always going to pass. So you might as well do it because those 4 years are going to go. And it's just happened that it's now come through when I don't have much work here in the UK that I can spend the time over in America to meet people, to network, to connect wherever I can. So I always wanted to do it because I felt as though there's a glass ceiling here for Black women in television. Which I am vocal about now. I don't care. I do believe it. I think that there are a few of us that are doing well, that are out there. Judy Love's smashing it. Yeah. Charlene White, we see her on the news here on Loose Women. Yeah. Alison Hammond, AJ Doody, they're doing great. But that's it. And also, they should have their own shows. They should absolutely have their own chat shows. Right? Alison Hammond should have her own chat show. Yeah. Without a doubt, because she's brilliant, she's funny, she's energetic, she's vivacious. And I just think, if they can't do it and they are at the top of their game here, what chance have I got? Like, I'm in property, which is fine, but I don't want to just be seen as a property presenter. I love property, but again, there are so many other strings to my bow that I want to explore and experience, and I want other people to be able to see. So when I watch people like James Corden doing the Late Late Show, he came out of nowhere to be on Late Late Show in the States.
Was he Smithy, innit? Smithy here, innit? That's what he was called here. He had skits in the UK.
Is that
he was doing skits around like
James Corden.
But
he had like a skit name. Guys, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but it was around the Red Nose Day and stuff like that.
Okay,
he had this skit like called Smithy where he used to do like skits, and then like you're right, nowhere.
That was it.
Boom,
Started
using his real name, James Corden. He's the biggest. It's crazy,
It's
bro.
huge. He was on that show for 8 years over there. He went over just to have a meeting with, I think it was CBS over there, just to talk about bringing over a show that he'd done here. And all of a sudden, he was so good in that meeting that they were like, you know what, we need a new host for late show. Do you want to do it? And then here he is 8 years later, like huge. So I've always looked up to people like Oprah Winfrey. I love her. I think what she's managed to do is incredible. And I want to be Oprah Winfrey. So I'm like, if I have to go over to the States to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. And I think Idris Elba, he didn't become big here until he went over the States first. Now everyone here wants him. And it's like, why do we always have to do that? But if you're going to give me the opportunity, Jeannie Asheri, she's smashing it over there. Then let me go over and let me do it. So got my green card, went over for 2 months, April and May this year. Got a Soho House membership just before I went because I don't have a Soho House membership here. I would never go. But I figured that's where the creatives are going to be. So let me get it. Went over there. Went to like a presenting workshop day, met these two great people, and I know I've said this, but we kind of spoke, and then again, I networked. I met all these big agencies. I met with Gersh. I met with WME. I met with Range Media Partners, and everyone was like, oh my God, you're amazing. We want to sign you. Yeah, you're amazing. We're just going to speak to the team. To this day, I still haven't heard back from them.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware when you go to the States that everyone's going to say, you're incredible. And then you never hear anything.
Yeah.
And people were saying it to me. I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. And it totally happened. I felt it first time. But then when I came back, one of the girls, the presenter girls I was speaking to, told me about another agency who I'd reached out to, sent all my stuff. And then I landed back in the UK the following week, had a Zoom with them on the Thursday. And then on the Friday, they were like, yeah, we want to represent you. We think you're amazing. And we'd love to have you on the team. And actually that agency is the top agency for presenters in America. So especially in Hollywood and in LA. So I'm like, wow. So I've just been signed. This was the goal, to be signed, have an agency.
Yeah.
Again, it was on my vision board, right?
Come on.
It was on all the things I want to have done, ticked off by the end of the year. It's like, I want to be on American TV, which I kind of was, because I went to watch the Jennifer Hudson show. I was in the audience and you kind of like, it cut to me. So you see me for a second.
There's
so
an
I made
asterisk next to the...
Yeah. So I'm like, did that. Obviously got to do the Hollywood hit for Lorraine, for Ross King. So I did that.
Yeah.
Got my American representation, did that. And it was all from the back of, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. That's what I always think. If I don't do it, it's never going to happen. So I might as well do it because I'll still be in the same position, right? If I go and they say no, I'm in the same position as not going anyway.
Yeah.
So what have I got to lose? So I went over there, know a couple of people, but not really anybody. Got my Airbnb, hired a car, just went to Soho House and just sat, would eat, would be on my laptop, would just talk to people. Went to an event called LA Screenings, met this guy who was talking to another lady who was English. I was like, hi, sorry for interrupting, but I heard the English accent. I thought I'd just say hello. He works for one of the biggest production companies over there. And now we're in talks about doing shows together and they're pitching me for shows on HGTV America. But that was just because I had the confidence to just be like, hi, I hear you're English, I'm English. Just thought I'd say hello and just go for it. I just think you've got to put yourself out there, you know, and just take the risk.
Another thing that we speak about there, which is confidence and just being able to speak to people. Do you know what? I love the fact that you put how you said what you just said, and you won't notice that you did something. But I think even just a lot of people say that they went to America to try and make it happen. I think even you just saying that I booked an Airbnb, I rented my car, I went to Soho House, got my laptop out, met people and just tried to jump in conversations. It makes it tangible. So someone is actually listening to this thinking, okay, so this is actually, it doesn't sound like much. When you think about it, it's something big in it, because now I'm actually seeing what it would be like. What does it actually look like when someone goes over to America to try and make it? And I think that also what you said about a lot of people won't start because they're scared to fail, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say? But you just need to start.
Just take that
That's the
first
key
step.
thing, and be consistent and be confident. And I know you're gonna smash it anyway. Like you're like without a doubt. Like when you said you're getting your green card in 2020, do you remember what I said to you?
No, what did you say?
I said, tell them I'm coming. When you go there, make inroads for yourself, but let them know
That
I
you're
got Bridget
over.
Tayo, he's coming as well. So
Love that.
when I do my thing, oh bro, us bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I always knew that you'll smash it, even with your entertainment presenting. I said that, look, you'll kill it. It's right up your street. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah, thank you.
big you up again. I think that LA will look really good on you, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I hope so.
I know we got to wrap it up, and
Yes.
obviously we'll get you back on to come and talk about what LA is like in the future
Yes.
and stuff like that. But here, before we end, we always like to talk about your biggest W and your biggest L, just to show people that there's balance to everything, right? So it doesn't have to, it can be recent, it can be in the past, it can be whatever, but what would you say during your career, your time, what do you think is the biggest achievement, the biggest W you had? And then what do you think is your biggest L? And L could be a lesson that you just learned as
Okay.
well as a loss.
I would say my biggest win is taking a risk on myself and believing that I can do it. And that would be literally from just saying to Ant and Dec, can I interview you? Even though that was all those years ago. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I was today. So I celebrate myself all the time for the fact that I had the brave guts to just say, hi guys, can I interview you? So that's my biggest win, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that small little thing. My biggest L, that's a good one. What would that be? Oh, you put me on the spot there. Probably being too naive. I am a very trusting person, and I have trusted people too much in my time to the point that it's at the detriment to myself. So I guess it wouldn't be specifically in my career, but definitely in terms of my investments, which is why, thank God, I have you now. I trust people too much. I'm like, absolutely, here's a whole wad of money because I believe in you, and then never hear back from them. And I think I need to be more aware of the fact that not everybody has the same intentions as me. And my L in that would be, you have a team around you, use them. I don't use my team enough, and I think that's really important. So losing money is my biggest L, because I did it out of the kindness of my own heart, and I'm the one that's got burnt from it.
Yeah, and you'd be shocked. Like, when you send me some of the investments that people try to, I'm like, are you serious?
I know.
and Scarlette, no, but we're gonna help these people. I'm like, are you reading what I'm reading? So I've got to go from like, no, what they are saying here, and this is, and then we just like, no, that's not for you. Do you know what I mean? That's not the investment you want to do.
Yeah.
But you're right, because you want to help, and because you want to, like, we're talking big organizations, big companies, big, even other countries, things in other countries happen, and it's like, you don't realize you are the prize. Like, you see yourself as Scarlette, and people see you as dollar signs, pound signs, walking, and like, you have to understand that the level that you're on, for us as a community, like, we are proud because we see you in places that we don't normally see ourselves. Yeah. And the fact that you then come back and are approachable and do events, it's amazing, and we appreciate you for it. But other people see it and feel like it's an opportunity to leverage, capitalize and leverage. And that's why, like you said, it's good to have other people around you before you make a decision. And that's another thing, you're humble enough to say, even though you're making all this money, if Iman says we shouldn't do this, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? And if my accountant says this, if my solicitor says that, and it's so important to have that team around you to make sure that you can only know so much. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
It's fantastic.
Cool, thank you.
And then just before we wrap up, there's something that me and Iman have spoken about before. But one thing I will say, I've known you maybe coming up to like 5 years now, or something like that. Anyway. Yeah. Honestly, you're one of the nicest people
by far.
That I've like. Literally, I've got a few friends, innit? I've got a lot of friends here, but I've got a few friends that fit into this category that if you've got a problem with them, I know you're the problem.
Yeah.
And you're one of them. If you've got a problem, like, how can you tell, what problem could you possibly have with Scarlette? I don't get it. So you must be the problem. I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
You know when I realised, that I proper rate you, like, you invite me to your barbecue, I saw the address, and I still said I'm going.
I love that, because you guys live far. You guys live far, and I so appreciated you both turning up as well.
People have invited, man, 45 minutes down the road. I've been like, you know what? The way I'm tired of that, like, I need to rest. You know what I mean? But for you, it wouldn't matter where it was, because you are genuinely just an amazing person. Yeah. You're always giving back, and it's always an honor to support you. So just thank you for being you, and we're just rooting for you.
Thank you, and I'm rooting for the two of you as well, man. You're killing it, honestly. You really are on this podcast. You so much. Thanks for having me on.
Tell the people where they can find you and what's going on right now. You've got a show out right now?
I've got a show out right now. I've got Worst House on the Street, Series 2, my brother.
Come on.
So first episode aired last week. So we've got another 5 eps to go. I am on Instagram, Miss Scar Doug. I'm on TikTok. I don't know what my TikTok is. You can find me because I'm terrible at it. That's why I always get to Ty, like, Ty, what do I do? He's like, get cap cut. I'm like, okay. So yeah, you can find me on those social media places. On Channel 4, there's always a repeat of A Place in the Sun on as well. I'm not on it anymore, but there are repeats. And you'll find me in Los Angeles looking around gorgeous houses in the hills.
Wicked. Guys, that's been the Bread and Butter podcast.
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your comments. Like, don't just meet us in the street. You know what? We keep meeting people in the street. Me and Tal be going out. We be like, we love your pod. We've met more people that have loved our pod than that we have subscribers.
Literally.
Subscribe, please. If you're watching this, listen to what Iman just said. Like, comment. Let's try and get a good amount of comments on this particular one.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? Scarlette took the time to come out and sit with us, let's get some comments on it. Guys, subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Blessings.